Optoms. Hope everyone doing well. Today I came with the topic retinoscopy. Basically, retinoscopy is an art. I know you are an artist. And I'm going to remind you 10 important things regarding retinoscopy. Let's move on the video. I remind you, in order to get a person's prescription and the final refractive error, it is mandatory to consider working correction. The working distance typically used when performing retinoscopy is 67 cm. This creates a working correction 1.5 diopter. If you are reducing or increasing the working distance correction change according to the equation P equal to 1 by F. I remind you, all cycloplegic drugs are mydriatic drugs, but all mydriatic drugs are not cycloplegic drugs. I remind you, pupil dilation is a non-risk for acute angle closure glaucoma. I remind you, hypertensive patients should be dilated with T-plane eye drop. I remind you, it is important to consider tonus allowance during pediatric retinoscopy, each cycloplegic drug having different residual accommodative power. I remind you, if you are dealing with strabismus and eccentric fixation, occlude the good eye and perform retinoscopy slightly off axis. I remind you, if you are dealing with nystagmus patient, 73% of patient will have null point. Do retinoscopy at null point. Phoropter should be avoided with nystagmus. Patient can adopt any abnormal head posture to engage their null point. Fogging the fellow eye in preference to occlusion will avoid amplifying nystagmus. I remind you, retinoscopy reflex helps to assess soft contact lens fitting. I remind you, you may see different kind of reflex in retinoscopy. And Bruckner test is also possible by retinoscopy and thus you can identify different eye conditions. I remind you, to find out refractive error in infants and toddlers, use Mohindra and Mirza retinoscopy. And dynamic retinoscopy like MEM, Bell, Nods, Book, Gross, Shades retinoscopy are using to find out accommodative ability.